And I'll invite you to share your stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with Jared White every Sunday morning at 8 on all WHOW platforms. And on demand at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana and the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time this morning on WHOW. A top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Only a few contested races highlighted local elections in DeWitt County. In the primary election for the Republican ticket in County Board District C, incumbent Megan Myers, Tom Ferris and Christina Deerwester edged Steve Oswald. In District D, incumbents Dan Matthews, Brian Riddle, and Melanie Tilley were unchallenged. In District A, incumbents Buck Carter and Jamie Prestegard, along with Joe White, were unchallenged. In District B, Terry Ferguson was the lone incumbent to be unchallenged. John Wirtz and Patrick Ryan joined Ferguson to advance to the general election in November. There was one other contested race for DeWitt County Treasurer. Sarah Jade Russell defeated Cody Lee Snow. The race was to replace the retiring treasurer, Gloria Wills. Uncontested races in DeWitt County included Sheriff Mike Walker seeking re-election and Carrie Harris for DeWitt County clerk, replacing the retiring clerk Dana Smith. The results are unofficial, and election night turnout was roughly 25%. In the thick of COVID this past school year, Clinton schools joined a small, less publicized lawsuit against the Illinois State Board of Education, alleging they wrongly threatened to take away recognition status of schools if they did not follow the mandates from Governor J.B. Pritzker. The lawsuit recently received a ruling from the judge in the case. On the WHOW morning show Tuesday, Clinton Schools Superintendent Kurt Nettles told Regional Radio the ruling was it is a moot lawsuit because there is no standing executive order, but the judge noted ISBE overstepped its authority.
The update on the lawsuit against the State Board of Education is that the judge in the case, Judge Lorton, she did finally come out and say that our case is moot because there's no impending mandates in front of us. If the mandates were still rolling, then I think she would come down with her actual opinion, which is, and I say this because she put it in her notes twice. And most recently, just a week or so ago, she put it in her notes that she believes the State Board of Education operated outside their realm of authority in taking recognition status away from school districts. So we're going to pause. We're not going to go anywhere further with that. If we get more mandates placed on us that we think are burdensome or unnecessary, we will resurrect this. And we will force the issue for a summary judgment in which she will hopefully follow through. And what she put in her notes is that ISBE does not have the authority to do this.
According to Nettles, it was not a summary judgment, but he felt it was enough to reference in the event more mandates are handed out in the future.
We wanted a judge to say they stepped outside their authority, and she did that. She put it in writing. It's only in her notes. It's not a summary judgment, but those notes, well, they're as public as they need to be or want to be. So I'm talking about it publicly. That'll sit where it is for now, and we'll just hope for the best that we have a great summer and a great fall like we used to.
Nettles feels the previous school year was almost 2 years in one, separated by masking requirements and the mask mandate being lifted. He says they took advantage of the ability to relax COVID restrictions as much as they could when given the opportunity. It's going to be a tough summer for a lot of people as gas prices and food prices reach all-time highs, in addition to predicted energy supply challenges in the state of Illinois. A University of Illinois Extension nutrition educator is hoping some tips she has can be of help to those that anticipate a struggle if we end up with power outages this summer. Caitlin Mellendorf says food preservation is going to be something we'll want to make sure we keep top of mind.
If power power outages happen, food safety is going to be a potential risk and possibly losing some of the food that you have. So when we get to a little bit more about times and temperatures for power outages, I'll share that. But in terms of preservation, I do want to invite folks to some of the classes that I have back in person now coming in July. So it'll be kind of in the middle of the preserving season, but we're going to do Thursday evening and Saturday morning classes. My Thursday classes are going to be about canning, so both water bath and pressure canning. And my Saturday classes are going to be about freezing, dehydration, and fermenting. And they're all just going to be lecture style. You could get that information. So this is definitely more of an introductory kind of class. So if you've been thinking, I would like to do some of this, this is going to be a great class to attend. I'm doing these in all 3 counties. So DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties over the course of a couple weeks in July. So I know I'll be busy with those.
An increasingly popular food preservation practice is dehydration. Mellendorf says this can be a great option this summer. She explains there are several foods that can be dehydrated and thus do not have to be refrigerated.
So the one that I like, especially if we're looking at something that doesn't require any type of cold storage, dehydration is a great one just because you can have dried fruits, you can make jerky sticks out of meat, you can dehydrate fruit. And some of those, I know I've done hot peppers. So if you have a bunch of hot peppers, that's not going to make much of a meal because you're just going to be all spiced. But I've dried hot peppers and I've made chili flakes out of those for like pizza. Yeah, so you can definitely use, in the event of a power outage, if you want to kind of look at, okay, I don't have access to my fridge or my freezer because they aren't working. They are not going to keep my foods cold. What can I take out of my freezer or my fridge and kind of use up? So that is a great thing to kind of think about. And
as things heat up this summer, Mellendorf says we're going to want to use the food in our refrigerators first because that will go bad first. She says a strange but effective suggestion is to reheat food on the grill if you can.
In this week of really hot weather okay, so if the power goes out and it's maybe projected to be a little bit long term, maybe more than half a day, maybe up to a day, you're going to want to use those foods out of the fridge first because your frozen foods will last a little bit longer. So focus on using those foods out of the refrigerator. So maybe you're going to be eating a lot of cereal and milk for a while. Maybe you're going to make some fruit and yogurt parfaits. Maybe if you have something like a grill, maybe you're going to reheat any leftovers on that grill, which might sound a little complicated. Like if I got leftover spaghetti in the fridge that I want to reheat on my grill, I can do it. It's just going to be a little kind of strange if you're used to maybe just reheating in a microwave or on the stovetop, but it can be done.
In the event you have to turn to foods from the freezer, Mellendorf says to make sure those foods get completely cooked. She says there's growing evidence of undercooked food, even vegetables, causing sickness. 15 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning, coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
Having a hard time finding the correct new car, truck, SUV, or crossover to fit your needs? This is Scott Baum from Bob Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Some lots look low on inventory, so go to our website, look at our pre-order and reserve tab. You'll see inventory in transit, which are built and on their way to Clinton, and in production, new Chevys and Buicks, which are being built and will arrive soon. Or you can always call our sales team. They can help you find the correct one just for you. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
It is 16 minutes after the hour here this morning. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. The Illinois gubernatorial race is set. Incumbent J.B. Pritzker will meet Republican challenger Darren Bailey in the fall. The Illinois Farm Bureau questioned the candidates on several ag-related issues leading up to Tuesday night's primary. Among the questions, over the years, it appears private property rights have become less important in the public policy debates. What are your ideas to balance private property rights with projects perceived to be good for the public good?
Being a farmer and owning farm ground, I definitely understand the importance of property rights. And as a matter of fact, I stood and spoke out against the recent energy bill for that reason only. I said, if there was one reason why this bill needs shut down, it's because of the inclusion of eminent domain. So this day and age, we've got easier, better ways to solve problems rather than taking property rights. So being a property owner myself, I certainly will stand to the end for the rights of property owners.
Well, I believe it's important to balance private property rights with projects that benefit the public. We must continue to improve our roads and our bridges, transition our state to clean, renewable energy, and grow our diverse economy. Any statewide standards around siting, particularly for those renewable energy projects and new industrial plants, must be accompanied by local authority over permitting and final project approvals. I will work to ensure that we're striking the right balance between state actions and private property rights.
The general election is November 8th. Incumbent 13th District Congressman Rodney Davis of Taylorville conceded his primary race late Tuesday night after challenger Mary Miller of Oakwood beat Davis in the new 15th District by a margin of 57-43. Davis issued a statement just before 10 o'clock Tuesday night saying he congratulated Congresswoman Miller and President Trump on their victory after a hard-fought campaign and wished Miller the best in representing the new 15th District. Davis went on to say he has been honored to serve the 13th District since 2013 and will now focus on campaigning to help Republicans across Illinois get elected. He added he hopes if the Republicans retake the House that they, quoting Davis, work to end dysfunction and deliver results for the American people. Kathy Salvi, a suburban Chicago personal injury lawyer, won the Republican nomination for U.S. Senate in Illinois Tuesday, topping a field of 7 candidates. The 63-year-old Mundelein native will take on first-term incumbent Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth in November. Duckworth, a veteran of the Iraq War, is highly popular and was unopposed in the primary. She will be the clear favorite as she seeks a second term in November in a place where Democrats control all statewide offices, and voters twice rejected President Donald Trump by double digits. Salvi, who works in a Chicago area law firm, is a former Lake County assistant public defender who ran unsuccessfully for Congress in 2006. She campaigned this year on a pledge to work to unify her party and maintains Duckworth is beatable because the fall election will be about the success or failure of the Biden administration. While Illinois has elected GOP senators in the recent past, Duckworth defeated the most recent Republican to hold a seat, moderate Senator Mark Kirk, by more than 10 points in 2016. Salvi beat 58-year-old Peggy Hubbard, a Southwest Illinois political activist who attended the January 6th Capitol riot and promotes the false claim that Trump won the 2020 election. Others who ran included 2 other Republicans who have been on the ballot in previous elections, 67-year-old Reverend Anthony Williams of Dolton and Jimmy Lee Tillman, a Trump supporter and the son of former Chicago Alderwoman Dorothy Tillman. Trump did not endorse any candidates in this race. Flower gardens are a popular hobby during the warmer months in Illinois, and pollinators play a key role in allowing them to flourish. But how to get pollinators like butterflies into your gardens? Horticulture educator with the University of Illinois Extension Office, Brittany Haig, has a surprise solution: milkweed.
My absolute favorite, it's one of my favorite garden plants, is the butterfly weed. So it has this bright orange flower, and it's a great plant to put in your ornamental garden. A lot of people don't even realize it's milkweed, but it's gorgeous. It'll bloom May through September, only get about 2 to 3 feet tall. It does great in full sun. It's a beautiful plant. It's one of my favorites, the butterfly weed.
She adds there are other types of milkweed that caterpillars and butterflies really like and can be found at any local garden shop. The Illinois State Fire Marshal's Office is urging the public to leave fireworks to the professionals. Fireworks and even novelty items like sparklers can be dangerous, causing fires or a trip to the ER, says Fire Marshal spokesperson J.C. Foltz. Last summer in Illinois, 202 people were injured by fireworks. One even died.
For example, right now, if you're on
Foltz reminds sparklers burn at temperatures of more than 1,200 degrees, which is hot enough to melt any metals. Just one touch to the skin may cause permanent damage or scarring.
Sparklers burn in excess of 1,200 degrees. That's hot enough to melt many metals and turn steel glowing red. So an instantaneous touch can cause burn that may result in permanent damage or scarring. So please, maybe think of something different to use. Glow sticks are great. We've got silly string, other things that you can use to celebrate the 4th of July.
Again, last summer, more than 200 injuries caused by fireworks and one death was reported in Illinois. Foltz says more likely occurred, but went unreported. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services is providing more financial support for foster families. The state had already planned a 3% cost of living increase, but now will add another boost to help foster parents, caregivers, and older youth in care. It's vital to support the generous people who open their homes, says DCFS spokesperson Bill McCaffrey.
Foster parents are one of the key pillars of our child welfare system, and this money is definitely going to help families whose budgets have been impacted by inflation and or other increased costs.
The average increase for the more than 9,600 licensed foster families in Illinois will be $74 a month, with the exact amount dependent on the child's age.
Depending on the age of the child that is with a foster family, the monthly amounts range, but the average increase will be about $74 a month.
This will be on top of the already planned 3% cost of living adjustment taking effect next month. McCaffrey says DCFS was able to come up with the additional payments since less kids have been coming into the state's care. If you're surfing the web for business or pleasure, it can be easy to be tricked into clicking on a fake website. Fake websites are put up by scammers that claim to be an official site for a business, charity, or government agency, but they're actually just trying to mine your personal information or trick you into sending money. BBB investigator Don O'Brien says scam websites often have very similar URLs and can look nearly identical to a real website.
We see this a lot with governmental agencies. See people might. We just found one not too long ago that was imitating the place you get your drone licenses. If you want to fly a drone, you have to get a license, and you can do that for almost free or next to nothing through the U.S. government. But there was somebody who was mimicking that, and the URL was just a couple of letters off, and the website looked just the same.
He also advises to watch out for tricky subdomains. Sometimes attackers hope you will confuse a subdomain with the real domain name of the website. For example, a scammer might use the domain name netflix.com.movies.com, hoping you won't notice the real domain name is actually movies.com. That holiday weekend cheeseburger will cost a little more this year. Gary Crawford explains that puzzle in this report.
This coming 4th of July, what food do you think will top the outdoor grilling list? Yes, it will likely be the traditional hamburger, which has been celebrated many times in song, such as Jimmy Buffett's Cheeseburger in Paradise. Oh, and ZZ Top's I Am Your Burger Man. There are some unofficial estimates floating around that on the 4th alone, Americans will consume over 375 million hamburgers. Oh, yes, the grills will be seeing a lot of action all weekend, a lot of burgers. As to whether that standard cheeseburger is going to cost more this year versus last, two possible answers to that one. First answer:
cheeseburgers could cost more.
This from Agriculture Department economist Megan Schweitzer. And my first question to her, nothing to do with burgers. Are you related to this famous 1930s child actor?
I'm in the mood for love.
Carl Alfalfa Schweitzer. She's been asked that before, I'll bet.
But I'm not.
Oh.
No relation.
Oh, well, back to burgers. Each year about this time, USDA economists do a price check on a standard issue cheeseburger made from grocery store ingredients.
Ground beef, bread, cheddar cheese, tomato, and iceberg lettuce.
And Megan says since last year at this time,
the total cost increased from $1.86 to $2.07.
Or an 11% increase. But now let's drill down on that, or I should say grill down on that. As you might expect,
ground beef contributed the largest share of costs at about $1.20 for a 4-ounce patty.
Up almost 17% from a year ago, but wait for the end of the story now. You may not end up having to pay that much more. Meanwhile, though, among the other components,
lettuce prices were up the most over the year at about 23.3%. But since lettuce is such a small component of the burger,
only 1 ounce,
the increase in lettuce prices only added about 2 cents to the increase in the cost of a burger this year.
And the price of the cheese and the hamburger bun, each up only a penny from last year. Tomatoes about the same price, really. So add it all up and you get
$2.07 for 1 quarter-pound cheeseburger.
Up from last year
by about 21 cents.
However, these prices are averages from the Consumer Price Index, but if we shop carefully this weekend, the cost, at least for the ground beef, might end up lower than a year ago. USDA livestock analyst Shale Shagham's been going through supermarket sales specials from across the country this week, and he says from what he's seen,
ground chuck prices were averaging about $3.37 a pound compared to $3.71 a pound a year ago.
34 cents or about 9% less than this last 4th of July. Some stores are not putting ground beef on sale. Others are, though, even taking a loss in order to get more of us into the store to buy all the other stuff we need for the holiday weekend. Yes, Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
28 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday morning. Coverage of the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. News is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. 7:28 on this Wednesday morning. Coming up on 7:30, we'll